Welcome to the Quick 10 podcast, brought to you by Trac, focusing on all things FedCon and cyber defense from different perspectives and different personalities, all in 10-ish minutes. Here's your host, Derek White.
All right, welcome back to another episode of the Quick 10 podcast. I'm your host, Derek White. Here we are in Tampa, Florida, where it is beautiful outside, as you can probably see behind. A little warm in this corner of the conference that we're at. So we are in the CMMC hot seat right now. I'm just kidding. We are joined today by Amanda Adams from GSec. Thank you for joining.
My pleasure.
Stepping aside. We go back, and your perspective is going to be very welcomed, I think, from our audience, from those that are watching and listening. Specifically, talk about GSec a little bit and what you do, where your background comes from, because that is very important. But then I'll kind of ask some questions on some things I think that you'll have a very good, enlightening answers to.
Perfect. Will do. So I started my company in 2019 based on my experience that I had before then. I started as a marine intel analyst, gone cyber after that. So I've kind of been in the community for a while, mostly doing RMF type stuff. And then I joined the CMMC bandwagon back in 2019 when I started my business. So I've taken the approach of just providing one-on-one consulting to each of the organizations that they have, very specific requirements. And I try to find tailored requirements for each of the businesses based on their operations and needs.
Yeah, and that's a perspective of there's a lot of consultant groups, consultant individuals. They all have their different flavors, different backgrounds. What's always been awesome to see as the years have gone on since we've known each other pretty much since then, is you are working with clients. You know what the outcome is, and can you talk a little bit about when it comes down to what they need, what they solution, how does the market look now compared to, say, 2-3 years ago, or even 6 months ago, on where you can tell your customers what fits them, talk to that, walk through that a little bit.
I think overall there's been a flurry of various tools out there that can help, but in a lot of times might not be the right fit for the clients. So I often have to provide a lot of education behind each of the tools and how they fit for each of the organizations and help them make a decision on what the best choice would be. And really just over the past 3 years, I would say there's been a huge uptick in people getting involved in the community. So of course that also leads to some confusion in the space as well. So it's really important to help guide people to find the truth and educate them and point to the resources to back it up. So the education piece is huge.
It does. And you've been in their seat. So you do get into the weeds, which is important. And the number of times that we've had conversations around what they thought going into an engagement with you in a hands-on, deep into the weeds situation has become very paramount for these companies to say, I have talked to somebody, but I didn't take enough focus. And the nice thing about what you were talking about earlier was, now there isn't a solution where everyone can go use this solution, right? You have to find out from your customer the importance of things like scope and their business flows and workflows, and then say, this is an option for you. You should go talk to them. Right.
Yeah.
Versus this is who you need to work with because they pay me to do that kind of stuff. Right.
Yeah. I really don't think there's such thing as a turnkey solution. It's actually kind of a trigger for me in this community is, there might be a solution that's a good starting point for a lot of companies, but no matter what, you're going to have to tweak it a little bit. If nothing else, your documentation shouldn't just be a template that you put your company name on. You have to tweak it with your business operations and make it something that you can implement and follow. So that's a big, again, with the education piece as well.
And you typically stay on and involved with your clients, right? So
Yes.
You and your team are not looking to rush anybody through to a certain milestone and then just say, I'm out, we're moving on. You typically like to stay involved and stay engaged because things change.
Right. Absolutely. And that's something I had to learn from the very beginning. When I first started this thing, I estimated things to, maybe take 6 months or a year and plan my engagements on that. Or, I'd have clients come to me and say, we want to get this done in 3 months. But in every single case, it's always been a long, drawn out process where, and not by any fault of anybody else's. It's just that they have to make decisions and they have to review products and they have to figure out if this is going to work with their organization and then think about it for a while and then do some of the backside work and get that done. So it's not a quick process. It's not something that you can just buy something and plug it in and now all of a sudden you're compliant.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work that way.
Well, the key word there's process. It's a program. You are a process driven person. So that's the big culture change usually is doing this as part of the process, not showing up with your huffy and puffy and I don't want to do this. Everybody gets that, but
Right.
you have to do it. And this is why it's important. The education that's been a huge thing at this conference alone will not change for a long time. It's going to be the importance of why you have to do this, not just look at this list of things and get them done. So, final question, second to last question, actually, because I do want to have people know where to find you. So, assessments are ongoing. It's going to be a crazy year for 2025, exciting year for a lot of people. Is there anything that you're hoping to see evolve from the CMMC side of things as this year goes on?
I'd just like to see there be a little bit more of a streamlined process of knowing what the organizations seeking certification are going to have to do. It just seems like there's a lot of unknown, and uh, obviously that's going to happen until we get a bunch of these people through the process and understanding, and also help weeding out the good and the bad and the ugly and those sorts of things. So just I think that once we get everything kind of tightened up a little bit and have a better understanding of what's real, there's so many people that were waiting for the final rule, or there's still some non-believers out there who don't think it's actually going to happen. But I think just I'd like to see all of that go away
Yeah.
and just have people understand this is here, it's here to stay, and we've got to do it, or you don't get to play.
Yeah.
So,
And that's like, obviously that's why CMMC exists, is that has to be done. Otherwise we're going to run into the same challenges to the warfighter and the supply chain, is that people will just do what they can to get business instead of doing things that are within the requirements. So last question is thank you again for sitting down. This has been fun. It's good seeing you guys again, as always. Where do people need to go, should they go to connect with you, learn more about what you guys do?
well, of course, I have all the social medias. I have LinkedIn. I have a website, www.gsecllc.com, on the LinkedIn. And I'm here in Tampa. If anybody else is here ever outside of this event, this is where I usually am, but I do travel. So I'll come visit you as well if need be.
So the hot is not as hot for you as it might be for some other people.
No, I actually prefer it.
Okay,
I
good,
will
'cause
come
this is
visit
warm.
you,
Yeah.
but not when there's snow on the ground. I prefer the warm. Yeah.
Well, good. Well, thank you again for sitting through the hot seat of the Quick 10 podcast. Appreciate it as always, and looking forward to having you on again. And we'll see where these same questions have now evolved to.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Thank you for listening to this episode, and make sure to subscribe to the Quick 10 podcast wherever you get your podcasts, and check us out on YouTube as well. For more information about Trac, visit our website at www.cuicktrac.com. That's CUICKTRAC.com.